Hi there, good morning. How's everybody today? First, before I start, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please comment below, let me know how I'm doing, and let me know if there's anything you'd particularly want me to speak about. Today, I'd just like to talk about myself, because I quite love myself, to be honest. Everybody's showering so much love and affection and praise on me day in, day out. You know, Phoenix Rising is doing so well. I had no idea that something that I'm starting on a whim, you know, just one day I just thought I'd like my own group, because I was going on the narcissist groups, and what upset me actually was that I wanted to post things, and I wanted to post memes or post my stories, and they kept getting rejected, you know, and a lot of the time they wouldn't actually tell me what the problem was. So I just kept getting posts that were rejected and memes that were rejected, or you know, and like sanctions applied to me, you know, and a lot of the time, especially like Facebook, wouldn't tell you what you've done wrong. And even on, there was a particular page that I went to actually, and I was really upset by that page, because in effect it was about narcissistic parents and children of narcissistic parents, and obviously that I'm a child of a narcissistic parent, but I also have teenage and grown-up children. So one day my son had really upset me, and I went on a couple of the pages and I posted about my son upsetting me, about saying things that weren't very nice, and I posted it on that page, and for some reason, I don't know if a lot of the members were teenagers as well, and they automatically started attacking me and saying that I must be a narcissistic parent, you know, that's why my sons aren't very nice to me. And I kept trying to explain to them, look, that's not the case, you know, I'm a victim, I'm a child of a narcissistic parent, but my children have heard gaslighting and smear campaigns against me their whole life, you know, since they've been born. They've been brought up with my family, my mum, my sisters. So all they've ever heard is me being talked about negatively, you know, that I'm crazy, that I'm unstable, that I suffer with depression, that I'm not reliable, that I'm not believable, that I'm just attention seeking all the time, that I'm just exaggerating things, making up stories, making up lies, just to defame people and to get people into trouble. I like to, you know, cry wolf, or I like to make a mountain out of a molehill, or a storm in a teacup. So for them, that's all they've had since they've been born. So that is the reality to them. You know, anything I say, anything I do, they just ignore. You know, it's almost like they don't believe anything I say. Recently, actually, one of my sons has something like an infection on his face, and he's on antibiotics for it, and he was in a lot of pain. And I said to him, well, you know, you can take paracetamol with that. And he just looked at me funny, and I said, I've worked at surgeries my whole life, you know, for 15 years. I was working in a pharmacy before that, you know, as a shop assistant. I do know a bit about medication, and even if I hadn't worked there for the past decade, I've had so many infections and so many illnesses and been in hospital every year, that I kind of know that you can take antibiotics and take analgesia with antibiotics, it's not going to affect it. But he wouldn't believe me, and he didn't take it. And he said, no, it's okay, you know, what if it interacts or something, you know, maybe I shouldn't be taking it. And I kept trying to explain to him, well, one's an antibiotic that's going to fight the infection, and one's a painkiller that's going to numb the pain and stop you being in pain, because he was saying he's in agony with this pain. But he refused to accept it. And I think that's something that really hurts and upsets me, to be honest, because I was, you know I keep saying this in my videos, but I was top set. I was the top student in every class I've been in, every course I've been in, at MOS classes, at Bengali classes, at school, at, you know, at the courses that I've done, training courses at Shore Start and things. I've always been the top student. I was given an award for adult learner, you know, so whatever I've done, wherever I've been, I've excelled at it. You know, I know about medication, not because I'm a qualified doctor or a nurse or anything like that, because I've worked in GP surgeries for the majority of my life. You know, I think I'd finished college and I started working in a surgery, and it just went from there. And I've been in surgeries for, you know, 15 years, like I say. The first job I had was in a pharmacy as a shop assistant in the corner shop. And I used to help the pharmacist with his blister packs and with sorting out medication. Obviously, he didn't give me anything. I was just a teenager at the time. I started working when I was 14, and I was there until possibly about 18, 19. So, you know, he used to let me help with basic things like, you know, that I could do, like sorting out blister packs and things. Obviously, he'd be supervising me and checking, making sure I'm doing anything, not giving me anything that I could go on to hurt anybody with. But you learn these things, you pick them up. You know, I've had 4 children. My eldest is 25 this year, so for 25 years, plus my siblings, my cousins, nieces, nephews. So I do know a little bit about basic first aid. I've done first aid courses actually at the surgeries. We used to have to do regular first aid courses. I've done first aid training at the Short Start courses that I've been to. I need to learn, so I love to learn things. If there's something that I don't understand, I have to go and check it straight away. I have to Google it. If I think something's right, somebody else is telling me no, that's not right, I will go and check it to make sure, because on the whole I usually think that I am right, because a lot of the things I do know, but it's nice to know when you're not right and to go and check and then learn the right thing, so that you're not making a mistake, or you're not doing something wrong, or you're not advising something wrong to somebody. So I always like to find out and like to know what's going on. So to have my own children not believe a word I say, to ignore me, to roll their eyes like this, to laugh at me, to mock me, to humiliate me, to gaslight me, it hurts so much. But it's just the aftermath of narc abuse. That is what happens. The narcissist will smear you. They'll start a smear campaign against you. They'll gaslight you non-stop, to the point where nobody believes you. You're just a crazy lunatic. Who's going to believe you over them? They're admirable. They're the most religious person around, the most kindest, caringest person around, the most gentlest person around. So no one will believe you over them. So to the point where you start to question your own self-worth and your self-confidence, and and you believe that perhaps you're wrong, perhaps you imagined something, perhaps you exaggerated something, perhaps you didn't quite understand something. It could be a matter of misunderstanding sometimes, like they didn't actually say something in the way that you took it, because you're upset or you're hurt or whatever reason, but the thing is, that doesn't happen all the time. The odd time you may have misunderstood something, you must have misheard something, you may have not seen or heard something and then taken it wrong, but that's not going to keep happening. People don't keep just making mistakes and misunderstanding and mishearing things, and yet narcissists will have you believe, and abusers will have you believe that you're at fault in every situation. If they fall ill, it's your fault. If they were late for work, it's your fault. If they lost their job, it's your fault. Whatever happens in their life is automatically blamed on you. I was just talking to a friend just a little while ago, and she's saying the same thing. Whatever happens to her partner, automatically she's blamed for it, she's hurt, she's humiliated for it. It's just unbelievable, how these people can just take over our lives, and we become their puppets. Ultimately, we are their puppets, they are their puppet masters, and they pull our strings. And they know, the thing is, they're so manipulative and so conniving. They actually know exactly what to say and what to do, what look to give, how much, how little to give, to get the reaction that they want. And they know exactly how we're going to react, because they know us so well. So just a tiny word, a tiny action, and that can spark us off, because we've had this for years and years and years. So we know, it's the dog whistle technique, where they can just give us a look, and we know by that look that we're in trouble, that we're going to get it in the neck, that we should be worried, that we should be scared, that they're angry at us, that they're ashamed of us. Whatever it is, we can tell just by one look, one action, one maneuver, anything. It's just awful, the way they treat us. And yeah, then when I go back to why I actually started this video today, was to say that I love myself, to be honest. And I think that some people hear me, and people who don't know what I've been through, and actually how I do actually feel that I don't actually love myself. But to hear me say that, people say, well, I'm just bragging, I just think I'm amazing and stuff. But the thing is, why shouldn't I? I've just come out of 41 years of abuse, non-stop since I've been born. Parents, siblings, at school I was bullied, on the streets I was bullied, at work I was bullied, at college I was bullied, I was being humiliated and hurt, and mocked and bullied and everything, literally every step of the way, everywhere I went, on a daily basis. One of my friends recently said that, how did nobody know that? How did nobody pick up on it? How did nobody hear? How did nobody intervene, like social services or teachers? Somebody must have seen something, somebody must have known something. Well, back then, social services weren't that involved, teachers weren't that involved. You'd have to be practically on your deathbed before I expect something would have happened. And abuse victims become so apt at hiding we'll put on a mask, we'll go to school. You know, I was going to school, and from year 10 onwards, I had an amazing group of friends that gave me the love, you know, and the acceptance that I needed, you know. So despite what was going on at home and how I was being treated at home, when I went to school, me and my friends, we'd have a laugh, we'd joke, you know, we had a ball. It's just heartbreaking to think that there are so many people out there, you know, who are being bullied and abused and hurt on a daily basis, and they feel that they have to cover it up. They're not allowed to go and tell anybody, you know. It's almost like an unspoken rule of abuse that perpetrators manipulate you to the point where you won't go and tell anybody. You know, I never ever thought that I could go and tell anybody at school that I was being abused at home, that I was being beaten up, you know, being beaten up by broomsticks and belts and slippers and shoes and sticks off the branches off the tree, whatever you could find at hand, you know. It just seemed normal. It just seemed accepted. You know, that's what happens. You know, if I went and said anything, I'd get into more trouble. I'd be abused more. I'd be beaten up for it. You know, something I recently discovered actually was one of my sisters was on holiday recently, and she's got a picture of going snorkeling in a swimsuit. I mean, to me, it's no big deal. It's her life. You know, I don't care. You know, if she's a Muslim, if she's not a Muslim, if she thinks that's okay, if she doesn't think it's okay, it's her life. I'm not going to intervene and tell her what she needs to do. She's old enough to make her own decisions and choices. What upsets me is that my younger siblings, they are all, you know, very modern. You know, they'll all wear English clothes. My niece, you know, would walk around with most of her assets on display and stuff. And yet, when I was at school, I was beaten for wearing trousers to school, because at that point I think we were wearing salwar kameez, which is a traditional Asian dress. I think I wore a midi skirt, so it wasn't a full length skirt, it was a midi skirt which came down to my calf, and then I had long socks with it at one point. And someone saw me on the way from school, must have come and complained to my mum, and I got beaten up for that. One of my friends was actually at my house, I think, when I was being screamed at for wearing trousers to school. Just, you know, I remember this pink, quite a bright pink top that I liked, that I used to wear with jeans, that when me and my other sister started wearing jeans and things, and which I paid for myself because I started working at 14, so I was able to buy myself some clothes and things. So I might have been about 15 at this time, and I was wearing this pink top, and I was quite an early developer. So I looked full-figured, you know, I looked like an 18-year-old at the age of 12. I was very full-figured, very curvy, and she hated it. My mother hated it, you know. It was like I was the worst person in life just because I was full-figured, just because I was good-looking, just because people would notice me and people would, you know, look at me or give me attention. She hated it. She absolutely found it like appalling. Like, how dare I exist? How dare I look pretty? How dare, you know, people notice me? How dare I develop? You know, so people are, you know, attracted to me. Because my sister above me, who was 4 years older, she was actually very flat and very slim. She was like, we used to refer to it as like a lamppost, because she was so skinny and slim, you know, there was nothing of her. And that's the kind of figure I think my mum would have liked for me to have. It's not my choice. I didn't choose to be full-figured. I didn't choose to be curvy, you know, and develop so early. And she hated it. And I had this pink top that I liked, that, you know, I didn't have much clothes anyway, so that was one of the few tops that I remember I had with my jeans. And I must have been stood outside the front door, and she screamed at me to come in. I came in and she smacked me. I said, how dare you go out like that? And she's showing with her hand, how dare you show, you know, like that, like show off your bits to people and stuff, and people are staring at you. You know, I don't know, I think I must have been younger, I don't know. I vaguely remember I was about 12, but maybe I was 14, I can't remember now. And she just screamed at me, and it's like, what am I doing wrong? What have I done wrong? I'm just a teenage girl, you know. I've just stood there. I don't know, we were maybe playing with my siblings or something. I have no idea why I was there. But I just remember being screamed at, and her showing, you know, it's her indicating with her hands like this, you know, you're showing your assets to people and stuff, and she mocked me and sort of, you know, mimicked me and mocked me and stuff. I remember actually that I used to stand up straight with my back straight like this, when you stand up straight with your back straight like this, your assets are more prominent. If you've got a lot of assets, they're more prominent. And I remember my sister used to tease me about that because she didn't have anything. So she used to tease me that, you know, the way I walk like this, you know, like with my back straight. But the thing is, I must have been taught at some point, or by a teacher or somebody, that, you know, you stand up straight, you have your back straight, or you get backache later, so you need to. So that's how I would stand, and that's how I would walk. But clearly it was a big deal. It was a no, you know, how dare I walk like that? How dare I stand like that? Whereas my sister was more hunched like this, and she'd hunch up, and, you know, and her spine would be all hunched. I'm sure she has back pain from it because she never ever stood up straight. And so, I mean, she barely had anything. She was flat anyway. But, you know, that helped the fact that my mother clearly approved of her figure, the way she walked, you know, whereas me, I'm more outspoken. I'm sort of, you know, quite bold, I guess, more confident, I guess, and like standing up straight was definitely like, it was almost like I was challenging her, you know, without actually challenging her. It's almost like she saw it as a challenge, that I'm challenging her, you know, by showing off who I am and what I am, and I'm proud of who I am. You know, it's like a personal challenge to her, that how dare this daughter of hers defy her in such a way, and, you know, and she's showing her up in front of the whole community. And I bet people were talking about me and going back to her and saying, oh, your daughter's really noticeable, or your daughter's doing this, you know. It's just a load of bullshit. I'm sorry, but it is. It's just a load. And it's just an excuse for an abuser to abuse their victim. It's just one more excuse. You know, being beaten for your clothes, being beaten because of your figure, being beaten because you're pretty, being beaten because people are noticing you or looking at you or giving you attention. You know, people asking you out. People are coming to your house to propose for you. You know, most people would love it. Most people would. And I think just at this moment, I think it's kind of dawned on me. Sorry. Lately, I've realised, and I didn't know this before, but it's only, say, a couple of weeks now, I've realised that I get triggered when people pick on me. Not pick on me, when people hit on me. So when people show me affection or attention, they fancy me, they hit on me, they're asking me out, I get triggered. Now I understand why. You get beaten up if people are looking at you. So, I'm crying again, sorry. I'm going to sign out now before I get too bad. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I hope you have a lovely day. Stay safe. Take care. Bye.